But you don't do it by standing there 3 feet from you in your face and lying to the court. And that's what she did, and she knew what she was doing, and it's not right. I am willing to surrender my bar card and have her surrender her bar card if what she is saying is true. He wasn't wrong.
She lied to get a motion overruled. Bravo to you, Miss Love. Days 66 and 67 of the Young Thug YSL RICO trial were annoying. The state's direct examination with Detective Gaither continued way longer than they said it would. Later on, Thug's lawyer Keith Adams calls out Miss Love for lying to get a motion ruling reversed. There's an old video of Thug basically saying snitches need to get killed. The judge literally rules for it not to come in at this time, but then suddenly takes it back. And apparently it's because Miss Love lied. It's towards the end of this video. Hit subscribe, join the channel membership. It's only 10 cents per day. I really appreciate the support. Here we go. First look at Thug on day 66. Nice brown suit and turtleneck. Looks tired like always. He could be asleep right now. Can't really tell. So Detective Gaither is on the stand again. I hate my life. This is so stupid because all she's testified to is an incident that involves no one in the courtroom. I get it. YSL, it's a big gang. A lot of people are involved, but
what is written on the hat decipherable in the video as we look at it.
They read Free Roscoe across the front.
Hold on. He has a Free Roscoe hat on, but low-key, he's the reason why Roscoe got locked up.
Who was the first person to indicate the name Bentley?
Basis, sir. I'm sorry? Overruled, sir.
Mr. Murphy.
Judge overruling everything today, like always.
Who was the first person to offer details about the date April 12th after you told Mr. Murphy you wanted to talk with him about that date at the SICO?
Overruled, sir.
I believe Mr. Murphy did.
Did you hear yourself asking Mr. Murphy, how did it go from real music to all of that? Is the portion of the video where he explains, does it lack any degree of clarity?
Does it lack any degree of clarity?
Yes, when he begins to explain to you how it is that it went from real music to that.
He was kind of mumbling, but I don't know if you guys can hear it, but in the interview, I can understand what he was saying.
These tapes of DK are cool and all, but majority of it you can't even understand. Like I'd say 70% of it. I'll never understand why these interrogation rooms have the worst audio of all time, every time. Why is the audio terrible and the cameras are terrible?
Mr. Steele, I'm the person that controls the objections. Could you please state the basis for an objection? Just make an objection, state your basis, and then let me handle the rest of it.
Cumulative. Move on. The objection.
That's not the objection. I tell folks when to move on. You don't. Okay, so all I'm asking you to do is to state a basis. That's it. Okay, and then I'll rule. But as for your objection, I'm going to overrule it.
By the way, they have a million sidebars where they come up and talk like this without the jury hearing it, obviously.
Roll over, bro. And then it ain't got nothing to do with the music. I know.
He shook his head at them being Red Cartel members, and then he said it ain't got nothing to do with the music.
Stuff was not having to do with the music. These guys been in the streets with their criminal histories. He said long record. These guys been having money. He referenced back to what he previously said, that these guys are kingpins. Initially, that was his words. These guys are kingpins, and I'm just a pipsqueak.
Officer Murphy was singing for the hills as the best friend of Thug and co-founder.
Attempted to separate himself from YSL, basically stating, he didn't commit any crimes. He hadn't, really been around them. He appeared to be a little evasive when speaking specifically about incidents involving YSL. So that was my line of questioning of, when you guys first started, like I stated in with Red Cartel and Block 125. At that point, what we knew of, the information they were putting out to the masses was strictly music. We saw it rapidly turning from not just music, but it began to form into what we consider a gang war between these two.
The witness actually said, no, I heard it. It's understandable. So I don't know how we're continuing on.
The past 45 minutes of this trial has been Miss Love making sure that everyone can understand what was said and asking Detective Gaither to say what was said because the audio is so bad. But at one point she said she could hear it. So why are we doing this? This is all so pointless. I hate Miss Love. This trial sucks. Kill me.
And then the third thing is this was never asked of Mr. Murphy. He's the speaker. It doesn't matter what this witness believes was said. It matters what Mr. Murphy said and confront Mr. Murphy, and then it becomes a prior consistent statement for this witness to say, no, that doesn't make sense if that was said, because here is the conversation in context. The state never asked Mr. Murphy.
But I'm the person that decides that. You aren't. Yeah, I know, but you aren't. So it would be an improper objection for you to make. A move on objection. Okay, that's mine to make. Your rationale is correct, but saying it is not proper. That's for the court. That's for the court's purview. Okay.
In this court, I will absolutely not say move on. I will say 403 waste of time. The waste of time, I think, is insulting, but that's what I'm going to say.
I will say 403 waste of time. He's talking about the rule of evidence 403. Kind of digging at the state. It's so funny.
That all of this is a waste of time, 403, and it should have been done with Mr. Murphy. And this entire, I've objected the whole way. I'm not going backwards. I understand your ruling. This entire replaying of recordings made out of court is just not the way that this trial should ever go. The state has not given the court a scintilla of statute, constitutional provision, or case law that this is a proper way to get in out-of-court statements. All of the case law is the opposite, unless it's a private citizen statement. And you already told us that.
Mr. Murphy was not confronted with these statements, so I think we're in an entire area of improper impeachment using prior inconsistent statements. They need to play this for Investigator Gaither because she was there and she has some specialized understanding about what was said. And what did we just watch? Like, she sat at the witness stand and the state played the tape 5 times and she couldn't really understand. She's not getting any information. She doesn't have any specialized knowledge from being there 8 years ago. What she's doing is she's listening to a tape to figure out what Mr. Murphy was mumbling about. And the reality, Your Honor, is that's not her job to do that for the jurors. The jurors this tape is in evidence. The jurors are going to have the ability to hear this tape and then they can make their own determinations. But having someone else just listen to a tape and determine what they think is said and then tell the jurors what they believe was said after listening to the tape themselves is wholly improper.
I agree. Ridiculous. How is this happening?
Most of the case law that talks about narration, we're relying upon this detective's sole understanding as to what he was saying. So whatever the jury's gonna have to kind of think about it is I would agree, Mr. Schardt, I think it's their purview. I think if I let her comment on this, there's room for interpretation as to what is being said. So, and she's testifying as it relates to what she believes he means. So I'm gonna disallow it.
Thank God. The judge has a f***ing brain. Move on. Let's go. Hour and a half wasted.
In line with the court's ruling, we can play that portion. Just Detective Gaither cannot give her explanation of that portion.
No, don't play it. It has nothing to do with anything at this point in time. No.
What is Miss Love thinking? Dude, the more this trial goes on, the more I hate Miss Love.
That portion the court said earlier that we could play. She just couldn't give her interpretation.
You've already covered that. That's the problem. That's the challenge.
Thank you. Cumulative. All this is cumulative.
Haven't you played that already? Hasn't the jury already heard that issue this morning already?
Yes.
We did not.
Didn't you play that already?
Yes.
Let me be clear.
You did.
We played a portion of it, and I was getting ready to ask her to explain that portion of it, and that is the point at which the objection came.
Why do you want to play it again? Hasn't been played already? Has it been played in front of this jury already?
It was played, Your Honor, and
When?
it was yesterday. And
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so why are we playing it again?
Because in order for the state to propound the questions that we intend to
Such
propound,
as?
why did she ask him how it went from real music to all of that, what she meant by all of that, and did he seem to have any difficulty understanding?
Raised objections about playing the same video that was already played yesterday, today, under Rule 403, cumulative.
I said I would consider it.
You said you need to be judicious. That's what you said to the state, and now we're just playing the thing for a second time, for no purpose. Just so we can ask the detective, the former investigator, if she asked the question in that prior interview, which is on tape, which is going in evidence, which the jury is going to have.
It's so extra. It's so extra.
But right now we're just replowing the thing the second time around. It's cumulative. Our stance is it shouldn't have been played once, but
It's getting cumulative, Miss Love.
Respectfully, Your Honor, this is consistent with the manner that Mr. Steele examined Mr. Stevens and Mr. Bean. He first played the entire interview, and then he went back and he played portions of the interview.
They haven't put on their case in chief yet. They don't have to.
Right.
So you making correlations to him is not appropriate as of yet. Okay.
Him and Thug being Red Cartel.
Video, audio, the evidence speaks for itself.
I'll overrule your objection, sir.
The video and audio speaks for itself. It does. I don't know why the judge is overruling this.
How it went from real music to all of that.
I stand objection.
Thank God.
That YSL is only a music group. At any time during this interview.
I got objection and basis.
No foundation.
Overrule, sir.
Why did you ask him so they take out their own after he told you that?
I'll rule that objection, sir.
The way I interpreted what he said was,
I stand the objection.
Without speculating about his meaning, what was it that you were asking him?
Overruled. Overruled, sir. Overruled.
Okay, 24.
Let me guess, 4403 again?
No, 44A.
All right. Still overruled, sir.
take out our own. I took that as members of the community because we were talking about Cleveland Avenue and YSL.
They're objecting every 20 seconds because this is complete nonsense.
Detective Gaither, would you please tell the jury what it is that you just passed to Walter Murphy in this video at that timestamp?
Just the driver's license photo of Dexter Montgomery.
I want to know the hell man, he said things what?
So just more footage of Walter DK snitching and giving information on the attempted murder. He just gave Hot Rod's name up.
A photograph of Rodney Allison, aka Hot.
And did he identify or recognize Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Who was that? Who was that? Who was that? That's Pokey. You said Pokey is fat. You said fatty, didn't you? I know that's Pokey. Yeah.
You put something in front of Walter Murphy at this time.
Yes.
And would you please describe for the record what it is that you put in front of Walter Murphy?
The first photo was of Demise McMullen. The second photo of Kelvin Treadwell. And the third photo was a young man nicknamed Pokey.
Who all on this date did Walter Murphy say was in the car with him?
Himself, Nard, and Fatty.
He was at the store too. Yeah, he was. I don't know.
What, if anything, you had placed before Mr. Murphy and then collected?
Still shots from the surveillance video from the sicko.
Bro identified everyone in the camera footage. I mean, he's definitely not high, too. He said he was high making all these statements. This man is chilling. I don't think he's high. That was a lie.
Who was trying to bust up their head?
People in jail, members of YFN.
And how did Detective Dennis refer to that same group as IF?
Or If Gang, yes ma'am.
Miss Love is just clarifying that Walter Murphy was saying If Gang and YSL was, you know, in a big beef right now. He's scared for his life, even though he's singing for the hill snitching, but, you know, come on, bro.
I don't believe he did.
All right. Are you certain about it?
I'll rule that objection.
Are you certain about it?
I don't recall.
We're showing you portions of the interview. If you understand who Walter Murphy was speaking of when he said, bitch, homie Quan,
I did.
would you please tell the jury who he was speaking of when he said, bitch, homie Quan?
The rapper, Rich Homie Quan.
Bro said, bitch, homie Quan.
The Lil Wayne, rapper Lil Wayne, bus shooting.
Did he explain what he meant when he talked about you when you get on the stage as it pertains to the Lil Wayne concert and them being there?
I don't think I understand what you're asking me.
Do you recall hearing
Miss Love sucks, bro.
YSL members saying F you to Lil Wayne, or people on stage with Lil Wayne.
The idea that Rodney Allison is somehow a co-conspirator or YSL associate, first I've heard that uttered from the state, or just now, I think I heard it yesterday when it started to serve their purpose. I've never seen any documentation at all. Now we're hearing for the first time that he's a co-conspirator.
Day 66, not even worth its own video. Gonna have to combine it with tomorrow's.
I'm not agreeing that it's Rodney Allison's voice because I don't know if anybody can recognize Rodney Allison's voice. So I don't know that goes to the foundation, but
it appears to me from the context, the limited context, they're discussing some unknown person being robbed by other unknown people and being tied up.
I think that it would add context, but I don't think it's something I'm going to argue over, and I will gladly take out.
I think you should take that out.
I would glad.
Thug looked tired as hell.
How did you know it was Trontavious Stevens that you were listening to?
Well, first he stated his name.
So it sounds like it's a phone call with Walter and his girlfriend, and he's crying. When bro was out in the streets acting like a gangster, he crying in jail.
Don't do that, please. I'm sorry, but don't make me listen here, bro.
You said what?
Saying don't make me break down crying here, bro.
I'm not trying to, but like, this why I asked you last night, like, bro, like,
stay with you. I should just stay with you. My God, I haven't touched you or nothing, and they love me, yo. Like, we haven't had sex and nothing. And they told us shit happened 3-4 months ago, bro.
Exactly, and then you just went to court. That's what I don't understand. Why didn't they lock you up then?
Like, I was with the folk, but bro, I'm not.
You say something about having sex? They haven't had sex or something? What?
Keep it 100, I'm gonna tell you everything. So you, like, bro, I never thought this shit would happen.
He also just said they wanted me to tell when this was after he already told.
Bro, we gotta ask Doug to start a fundraiser or like something, bro. I gotta get me some money. I gotta get out of here, bro.
He said we gotta ask Thug to start a fundraiser. I need money. Hell no. After snitching on him too, giving info.
What do BK got to do? What is it? I don't know. I don't know what to tell him. So I don't know what you got going on because you ain't told me nothing. Like,
I'll talk to you when you come to visit, but I can't talk to you over the phone like that. What the f did I do to God? Or whoever.
He said, what the f I do to God? Brother, you run around shooting people. There's consequences to your actions if you run around shooting people.
Oh, my child, Apple, they loved you, and then they'll just throw it all away for no reason, and I'm sorry. And it's like God knew this was going to happen to me because he just, like, you see how you pulled up? Oh, don't make me say something that I'm going to regret. I don't know what you're going to do, Erica. I don't know.
He sounds scared as hell if something happened to Erica on the outside.
They got me in the car with the people on camera, but they do not have the shooting on camera. You see what I'm saying?
Slimy little they got me on camera, but they don't want the shooting.
They got me in the car with the people on camera. They showed it to me, but they do not have the actual shooting on camera. And the person is not dead. He's just like, just brain dead.
It's attempted murder, motherfucker. You half his head is missing.
She saying he gonna have to have a metal plate put in his head and shit. That's what she was telling me. And they wanted me to tell.
You did tell. Why does he keep saying they wanted me to tell? He's acting like he didn't snitch to his girl.
Bro, even with Thug just getting locked up, like Thug, I'm like, damn. I know. It's my little brother. I'm going up into the 7th floor. My back, my arm go out. Every time I lift up.
So they're trying to show the jury he keeps bringing up Thug in these calls, but he even testified they have not spoken since 2015, which was right around the time of this phone call and when he got arrested and everything. This is like them fishing like guilt by association, trying to taint the mind of the jury.
That the people in the blue vehicle threatened him with harm?
Yes, and answered.
I sustain the objection.
Yeah, why are you repeating shit, Miss Love?
How did you recognize who that was?
I reckon. So when Mr. Stevens called him, I recognized his voice and the phone number that he was dialing out to.
There's a call with Slug calling someone else at the jail. I don't know who he's calling. Why are we hearing a Trontavious Stevens jail call right now? What does Detective Gaither know about this jail call? Who cares? I'd say 95% of that phone call was unintelligible. Like, you can't understand what they're saying. So I'm just going to see what Miss Love asks her. So, because I don't understand what just happened.
The Kel that is being referred to here, is that Kelvin Watts?
No.
Also, beyond the information you've ever been provided.
I'm overruling both objections.
Would you describe where he is seated and an article of clothing that he is wearing, for the record?
Got his first defense table with a white, off-white, maroon, and black striped shirt.
Your Honor, would the record reflect that she's identified Diamante Kendrick as the person she's referring to as Yak?
It will.
Thank you. In looking through those social media pages, did you come across a video of Jeffrey Williams talking into the camera?
Yes.
Judge just suddenly asked for lunch, and now we come back 2 hours later. So they've been all standing up on sidebar for literally 10 minutes. The judge is getting kind of heated. I wish I could hear what he was saying. Uh-oh, something's happening with this evidence she was trying to put in. He's not happy. Oh, he said, I don't believe everyone was shown.
Or did you locate a video posted around January 26th of 2015 depicting Mr. Williams displayed on Mr. Garlington's social media page?
Yes.
So Miss Love is trying to show this video right here. Shout out Thugger Daily, 2015 social media video that was posted on another person's Instagram.
So a lot of they mama, a lot of they kids, a lot of they brothers and sisters didn't get ready in the courtroom and tell the God honest truth. Don't get it. Y'all need to get killed, bro.
You snitching bitches.
From me and YSL.
So obviously defense lawyers are not liking this coming in.
Was the video obtained from a public social media site that was accessible to anyone who is looking at that site?
Yes.
What aspects of that shooting that occurred on April 12, 2016 factored into, based on your knowledge, training, experience, and learning as an investigator and gang expert, what aspects of that incident
Shut up
caused you to classify it as gang activity?
Longest question of all time. It's going to get objected to. Sit down, Miss Love. Yesterday you said you had 30 minutes left on direct, and we're 4.5 hours in.
Basically.
Simply rewording the same question, same objectionable question.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Mr. Steele, do you have an objection, sir?
Under Parcell, it goes to the intent, which is not for this question here.
I sustain the
Your Honor,
objection.
this is an expert, and this is the
I
question.
sustain the objection.
My God, today has been just a lot of sidebar wasted time. It feels like every day this trial is just a shit show.
Because that question,
Bless you.
is being rejected.
God damn.
If there's independent evidence of the accuracy of the tape recording admitted trial, we shall be extremely reluctant to disturb the trial court's decision to admit the recording. These are all foundational.
Why wouldn't just when it boils down to it, the statements reportedly made by your client, why wouldn't those be admissions of a party opponent?
They need to be identified as to when they were made. This is a repost. What you're being shown is a repost. Are they the same statement? People change things all the time. Like the state was going to redact. In the background, we start out with the state saying, you only hear yeah, yeah by other identified persons. You clearly hear the person saying, I'm going to lie on God. Snitching, I'm not going to say it, but F and then the N blank GGA. That's as far as I can blank you. So help you God. It's 17 seconds and there are multiple speakers. It's not just two speakers, there's multiple speakers that right now the state may be able to get it. It's just like you told me. I'm not saying this may not be evidence that's important to the case. What I'm saying is there has to be the same foundation that the state lays that you're making me lay. They're taking something off of the internet. It is exactly what you have told me. In the other cases that the state has cited, here they don't know what was said. They know it's a repost.
All right, let me take a few minutes out. I need to take comfort, and I'll think about it, and I'll come back.
Your Honor, can I get the court?
No, I'm one side. Okay, I'm gonna take my break. Everybody should. We're in recess.
He said, no, I'm going to take my minutes. I need my break. Holy shit, this judge. Miss Love trying to get her 2 cents in right there. So what I think is happening, Brian Steele's saying they need to lay more foundation and this isn't the correct witness for this to come in. And also apparently this video is old and it's a repost from like years ago, like before even 2015, I think. And there's people in the background that say snitches and shit.
I'm going to sustain the objection as the foundation at this time. Much like many of the rulings I've made, they're subject to reconsideration. In this particular circumstance, I believe that it is the opinion of the court that the original video, at least the source would have to be at least identified for the purposes to make sure that there were no alterations of that particular video. I don't know whether or not they are, but I think that'd be part of the foundation in this case. Okay, so I'm going to sustain the objection right now, but if you can lay more foundation another time, I'll reconsider it, okay? You have multiple issues with this particular piece of evidence. We haven't gotten to the reason that you want to put it in. That's separate. The first part has to be the foundational aspect of, is it true and is it authentic? So in order for you to do that, you need to show where the original posting came from so there's no alteration of that particular post.
I mean, that makes sense as a repost. Who knows if it was altered or not?
Book says statements of a party opponent are admissible without presentation of any predicate or foundation. The definitional exemption for individuals.
Where's that?
It's on page 463. It's in 24-801 D2A. It's
24-8 what?
801.
24-8 that's what?
Don't tell me he's getting convinced and he's going to overrule it now.
And then it goes on to show.
That's plenty. All right, Mr. Steele, I'll give you the last word because it looks like I may have read too early. So.
I don't think you read too early. Statement of a party admission has to be an admission.
Party opponent. Admission by a party opponent. Yes, sir.
An admission has a specific text and connotation in law. It's different than a confession, which admits all elements. An admission admits some of the elements. Here, this is a statement. The state still has to be bound by the foundational requirements that you have sustained the objection.
Okay, stop.
Yes,
Please don't go back to that. I have to make them on individual basis. All right. So why wouldn't this be an admission of a party opponent, your client, if a jury chose to believe it?
I can't believe he's taking this back. Miss Love doesn't give up. Like, if something doesn't go her way, she just still tries to convince him, and he fell for it this time.
That statements of a party opponent are admissible without presentation of any predicate or foundation.
Because it's not an admission, so you still need a foundation.
Why wouldn't it be an admission? If it's believed by the jury for what it stated in the statement, it goes to whether or not your client's a leader. It goes to whether or not he has control. It goes to several other purposes that the state mentioned earlier in terms of his relationship to YSL, intent. So if the jury believes that, because that's certainly within their purview, why wouldn't it be a admission by a party opponent for that reason?
Because the state is saying, they charged in an overt act, that this statement was made, reposted on the 26th day of January 2015. There's no evidence of that. There's some sort of context. This was said for this reason, to stop people from cooperating, or this was said for this reason.
But that's what the jury needs to decide on that issue.
In this video, Thug's basically saying, like, why are y'all lying and then you go and snitch in court? And then he says y'all need to get killed. No snitches were killed. So what are we doing here, boys?
I believe a foundation still is.
Okay. While I did say that, Mr. Steele, it looks like that. Of course, I have to look at things in the light of what you all tell me, and also the statutes and the law applicable.
I don't believe that it fits in that category because we don't have any of the date that it was made. If it was truly that statement of Mr. Williams, I still say that the state, it's all Mr. Williams' statement and there's nothing else said except yeah, and indiscernible. That's wrong. Then they started out with, they don't have to identify the speakers. I believe that's wrong. And now they are at a position where they don't have to lay any foundation because it has to be an admission of the party.
It's not required. Okay. It's not required. And I'm looking at the statute right now for what the state is claiming in Act 26 as well as Count 1. So and that's what the jury decides, but whether or not they want to take it as that.
The exhibit itself qualifies as a statement because it contains both oral assertions and nonverbal conduct. Any argument to the contrary goes to the weight and not the admissibility of the statements, and the jury is a proper entity to weigh that statement.
All right, let's see what Steele has to say about the judge flipping his ruling out of nowhere when Miss Love should have shut her mouth.
It states that the district court also acted within its discretion when it concluded that circumstantial evidence authenticated the telephone conversation sufficiently to satisfy Federal Rule 901, which is corresponding to Georgia, which provides that the requirement of authentication or identification as a condition precedent to admissibility is satisfied by evidence sufficient to support the finding that the matter in question is what its proponent claims. And that's what the court just found. And what I've been saying, they don't have, to my knowledge, right now, any evidence that this repost is what it was originally. They don't have the date on the original statement.
The judge is going to let it in. He doesn't care about the date.
If I couldn't, or nobody could make out that that's purportedly your client, that would be indicia that it's not reliable. Okay, there's nothing in there that's shown that the postings have been distorted. It's not readable. It's grainy, whatever. So there's sufficient indicia that that's your client.
In regards to the statements of other people on that video, those are not admissions by Mr. Williams.
That's a good point. All the people in the background of that video with Thug saying snitches or bitches or whatever, and all that nonsense in the background needs to be redacted.
I agree with Mr. Steele that it should not be admitted at all, and that's my stance. But if it is going to be admitted, the words of a third party, I don't believe that Mr. Williams' lack of chastising the person, whoever said it, in the 1 second that the clip continued before it was turned off, constitutes an adoptive admission.
The same as you come into court and tell the truth, you need to get killed. That's from me and YSL. And so.
But did anyone get killed? An old ass video like that is being shown to the jury of him basically just talking shit to the camera, and it could potentially sway the jury a little bit. I doubt it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, his life is on the line. This is so stupid.
I just still think that the bottom line is somebody, the proponent of the evidence is the state of Georgia. Somebody has to come in and say, yeah, this wasn't altered. This is when it was made, and this is accurate. And we don't have that. What if this was made, Your Honor, in 2014?
Look at those blonde dreads. I think he did have those in 2014 at some point.
It's admissible without presentation of predicate or foundation. That's what the law provides under 24-8-801D2.
They put it as a repost or posting by Mr. Garlington. It's not Mr. Garlington's statement. They're saying that it's Mr. Garlington's statement to warn people because they're in a conspiracy, so it's a co-conspirator statement. So I still believe that the statement originally...
That's insane. It's a co-conspirated statement. This conspiracy shit is so stupid to me. I'm sorry. Like, for other gangs it could work, but I just feel like they don't have hard evidence that Thug was the head mob boss of a big gang and people were paying him and shit. Like, it seems like after 2014, 2015, he separated himself from like everyone. Isn't it crazy that someone else posting a video of you on their Instagram can be an overt act in a RICO trial 10 years later? Mr. Adams wants to address something.
You make a ruling. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. We move on. That's fine. If after your ruling, I've got a case that I want to bring to your attention, I say, Judge, reconsider your ruling based on this case, and you consider it, that's fine. If you don't want to consider it, that's fine too. But what I found objectionable, and I want the court to address with the state, is what happened at the bench earlier. There was an objection to the video. You made a ruling. We moved on.
And that should have been it. But Miss Love kept going. She never moves on. The defense moves on all the time. They take the L.
The state came back up and made representations to you. And they weren't representations based upon some new case law that they had found. They were representations, misrepresentations that were made directly to you, all of us standing there right there at the bench. She said something very, very fact specific in an attempt to get you to readdress the issue again. Madam Prosecutor said, I want you to listen to the 17-second video, because what you had based your ruling on was that the parties in the background couldn't be identified. And Madam Prosecutor said to you, and was not accurate. And I'm going to be charitable and say that she was disingenuous. These people in the background, the only thing that you hear are people saying, yeah, yeah. That's it.
They weren't saying, yeah, yeah. They were saying a lot more than, yeah, yeah. That's a lie.
When Mr. Steele corrected her and said that's not true, she said, Mrs. Steele is not accurate. What Mrs. Steele just told you is not true. The only thing you can hear in the background is, yeah, yeah. And actually, when she stepped up there, it was in an attempt to act as though she didn't know what your ruling previously was.
Oh, wait, Mr. Adams snapping. This is crazy. He's calling out the prosecutor.
The attempt was to go ahead and play the video at that time, despite your previous ruling. My point is this. After you decided to reconsider, you want to hear the video yourself, you had a chance to hear it. You had a chance to hear what we had already heard, what we knew it said, what they knew it said. And there are at least 5 or 6 different things on that video audio that were in contradiction of what Madam Prosecutor said. On God, snitching bitches. I'ma tell a lie on God. That's what I'm talking about. No back and forth with you, bro. I'm not just saying that for emphasis. I'm saying that because what she said to you was inaccurate. At some point, Your Honor, I'm asking you to, we've had this conversation about candor with the court over the course of the past number of weeks.
3.3.
Yeah, it ought to be candid and it ought to be truthful. And what she said, and look, if she wins the motion, ultimately she wins. But you don't do it by standing there 3 feet from you in your face and lying to the court. And that's what she did. And she knew what she was doing, and it's not right. You heard Mrs. Steele. Mrs. Steele said, Your Honor, I am willing to surrender my bar card and have her surrender her bar card if what she is saying is true. He wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong. She was not candid with the court. And at some point, you've got to say to the parties, if I've done that, I would expect you to say, Mr. Adams, don't do that again. Don't step up to me and lie to try and get me to rule or overrule something I've already ruled on. Don't do it again.
Look at her. She's getting so mad. Miss Love's getting angry.
Courtroom. These are these people's lives at stake.
That's what I'm saying. Bro, they're putting in 10-year-old videos as overt acts, and these guys' lives are on the line. Like, that's crazy to me.
Sometimes you win a motion, sometimes you lose. But you don't get the court to address something or readdress something like that. That's all. Say something to them is all I'm requesting.
To listen to the 17-second video.
But what you did tell me, Ms. Love, wasn't the entirety of. You did have other statements on it. It's different if you'd have told me, Judge, there are statements on there. Probably need to listen for yourself. Not just yeah.
Your Honor, my recollection, and I'm going to speak candidly because it's been
I would hope
along.
there'd be nothing less than candid.
And Your Honor, that's what I've been pushing for all along. There have been times, as the court is aware, that we have been at the bench and misrepresentations, bald misrepresentations have been made, and the court has seen my reaction to them. I am the one that's constantly saying I have a duty of candor to the court.
All of you do.
We do. And when Mr. Adams just read those series of things that he read, those half of what he said, I didn't catch. The part that I did catch and remember is the part I kept repeating just now, snitching bitches. And I didn't even recall that part was there. But what I did know was that the relevant portion and the relevant speaker was Mr. Williams. And Your Honor, risen to a level of being not true motions or requests based on legal analyses, but more leveled specifically on a personal level, which I've attempted to stay away from.
Accurate information. Let me just put it that way. Okay. And I know, and I'm not trying to attribute, dishonesty to any party, but you know, I have to rely, all courts have to rely upon.
So, Miss Love lied and the judge isn't doing shit about it. She lied to get a motion overruled. Bravo to you, Miss Love.
The court has no interest in this case. My sole responsibility is to see that it is tried fairly as to both sides. Relook what you're saying to each other and to the court, because it really does make a difference in terms of our presentation before this jury, and then ultimately the jury's going to make a decision.
And that's it for this week of the Thug trial. Thursday and Friday they're off. They come back on Monday for cross-examination with Detective Gaither. Next week should be a lot more interesting because it's cross. Subscribe for more videos. Join the channel membership. Love you guys. Peace out.